Unite beyond boundaries. Innovate together. Joe's PANKRATION 2024. No border.
Hello. Hi, I am Adam Seligman. I'm the Vice President of Developer Experience at AWS. I'm super excited to be here today. It's amazing to get our AWS developer community together. It's exciting to see what a broad community there is across Japan, and this is a great celebration. Thanks for having me. My topic today is software development's moment of change. And the idea is we're at a moment where things are changing very fast, maybe in a disruptive way, certainly in surprising ways, and probably faster than we realize. And so I wanted to take a minute to just stop and reflect on where we are and give some perspective on what the world looks like going forward. So the first thing I want to start with is not actually developer technology, but consumer technology. And I believe very firmly that just in every part of our lives as consumers and customers and business people, expectations are changing. I have an example here from Amazon, from our Rufus assistant. 139,000 ratings and reviews in a product is not so useful. A human would take time to go through all the different reviews and understand the details of the product and what people have said and sort of look for and hunt for the issues that speak to them. But now with generative AI, those things can be summarized and distilled instantly. And so I think we're going to see an acceleration in our lives where every facet of our personal lives is going to start to be affected by generative AI, and our expectations will be much higher. So this is just us as consumers, as customers, our parents, our families, our kids, our friends. They're going to start using technology very differently. So a lot of the shift that's happening with this generative AI wave is not really coming from us as technologists. It's coming from users and their expectations. So this takes me to developers. And this is a pretty shocking stat. But we spent a lot of time with generative AI thinking about how things are going to change. Developers today, as studies describe, spend less than 1 hour a day actually writing code. Now, they spend hours a day doing other things like reading documentation, fixing bugs, going to meetings and more meetings and more meetings, but they don't actually spend that much time creating new value in software. And again, that feels like an environment that's really ripe for a transformative change so that we as developers can do the things we love to do, which is creating new innovation, not just fixing things and going to meetings. And so it's a little bit of a key of how generative AI technologies is going to change what software developers do. A lot of it may not be in that 52 minutes of coding time. A lot of the impact of generative AI may be in all of those other minutes, those other 8 or 9 hours in the day when developers are doing other things that are not actually the creation of code. So it takes us to sort of one big core idea that we're pushing on at AWS, which is the foundational way of how developers work is changing in very large ways. So if we look where software developers are actually spending their time across the software development lifecycle, there's a whole series of activities. Like I think we all know this from some of the work is planning, and then involves researching and looking up guidance and looking up examples and resources, and sort of designing around both the technical and business requirements. And then there's the creation phase, which is fun, which is generating code and managing infrastructure. But there's a lot more beyond that, like testing and securing your code and looking for vulnerabilities and applying patches, making sure you have good test coverage. We take operations very seriously, and I bet all of you do. So operations is a big part of the software development lifecycle, from identifying issues, constantly monitoring and look for opportunities to improve performance and efficiency. And then this modernization and maintenance stage where, like, over time, all code becomes debt. We don't we don't just build software statically, like our dependencies change, our requirements change, our environments change, our feature requirements change. And so there's this large cycle of software development. And so when we say software development is changing, we really believe this entire cycle is up for grabs, and this entire cycle will change in new ways. So I think you've all seen Amazon Q. Hopefully, you're all using Amazon Q and using it across the software development lifecycle. Amazon Q Developer is our expert to help software developers with all facets of the software development lifecycle. And that includes helping build and manage secure applications and keeping them, making sure they're scalable. It includes the writing code, debugging, test, optimize, and upgrading code phases. And it's a great way to chat with AWS to explore new technologies, learn unfamiliar technologies, and even architect things that you haven't built before. And we've built Q not as just like a generic chat over the internet, but something that really has security and privacy built in, understanding your particular account context and increasingly in the future your preferences, so that your organization can use generative AI safely. We think it's the best coding assistant, again, for the entire life cycle in the world. And we're excited for every single developer in the AWS community to live in Q, help us make Q better, help us evolve Q, but really see Q help them transform how they're conducting this complete software development lifecycle. So examples of that include using Amazon Q inside the AWS Management Console. It's fed with things like best practices. You could do things like optimize EC2 instances with help from Amazon Q. You can explain your code to help understand the code that you're walking into. You can conversationally code by chatting with it. Inside the IDE in VS Code, you can do things like right-click to explain code that maybe you've inherited some legacy code, and you can right-click to explain it. You can write tests for your code. So the first step in modernization might be backfilling tests that don't exist today and writing a really good comprehensive test suite. Security scanning and remediation is a common thing. There's constantly vulnerabilities emerging in the world. And so both using our advanced AI-based code scanning capabilities and then allow you to identify code remediation opportunities and improve your code, again, to help you spend more of that time actually writing new value and not just fixing security vulnerabilities. We've built some very sophisticated error troubleshooting assistants. So if inside your application you have a problem, there's something in your log, you can use Q to help you work through the problem and understand the root of the problem. Examples are reachability analysis of VPCs. And we're adding cost optimization assistance also into Q, which is pretty exciting to see that coming. One of the really big features that's been we've had a lot of success with Amazon Q has been Q Developer Agent for code transformation. This is an agent inside Q that will do things like modernize your Java code for a Java runtime version from 8 to 17 or other versions to 17. And we're going to add more agents to that, and I'll talk about that in the future. But the idea is Q becomes like a developer expert assistant that will go carry out the task for you, check in if you need help, but help you modernize your Java applications. Now, we use this feature inside Amazon, where we have many thousands of applications. And like everyone else, we have to upgrade our Java runtimes to make sure we're using one of the newer versions so we get the performance and reliability and security improvements. So that used to take something like 50 developer days to really do reliably and test thoroughly. And we were able to do each one in just a few hours. Now, when you multiply that times our large fleet of Java applications, we saved more than 4,000 developer years of work. So we were able to get about half of our production Java systems upgraded in under 6 months, and 79% of them did auto-generated code reviews that didn't require any changes. So this saved us $260 million a year. And that's because those newer Java versions are much more efficient to run and more reliable, which helps us bring the cost of our fleet down. Now, we're always looking to save money and be more reliable at Amazon, but we think this is an opportunity for every customer and every developer to look at some of the debt they have and modernize fearlessly. Okay, there's another theme that's happening that I wanted to share that for a developer conference, I think is actually new and fresh and exciting. And that is AWS wants you to welcome millions more builders into our community. That means bringing more developers into our user groups. It means bringing more builders with different backgrounds that maybe aren't skilled software developers yet and allow them participate and build things of value on AWS. We believe many more builders can make highly valuable things inside AWS. Now, we've built some new products to help with that so that we can make our developer community bigger, again, with builders with different backgrounds. And one of them is AWS App Studio that allows you to build fully managed serverless applications with no code, all with generative AI. So you can just describe your business objectives, go through the process of getting an app, and connecting it to AWS resources. So here the user is typing in a prompt, generating requirements and reviewing them in App Studio, and then instantly creating an app. And now if you look, all of the app is visual for future modifications, which is pretty exciting. So you can be an AWS developer without being a programmer. App Studio is particularly neat because not only does it work with AWS data services, it uses AWS primitives. So again, inside an IT environment, it uses IAM, it uses Dynamo, it uses Redshift and Aurora, whatever you want to connect to. And if you need more capabilities, you can extend with JavaScript. So App Studio is a very exciting way to welcome new builders in and give them more and more capabilities. Another example is for business users, and that's called Q Apps. So Amazon Q, our chat product and our expert assistant for business users, has a capability called Q Apps. I had the opportunity to work on this product. It was very fun building this. And it will look at a chat you're doing and say, hey, this looks like something that really could be put together in an application. You did a series of steps. There's some inputs and outputs. This is something you're probably going to use again, and it might be something you want to share with your team or across the whole company. In this example, it's generating outreach emails for a sales process where a couple of inputs like company, product, account manager, and some context in a document and also corporate data then create an email message and might even identify some related Jira stories for you of backlog of tasks. This is live now. We're super excited to see this. And again, it's a task that'll help developers, but it'll also help us bring in millions more people to build things on AWS and into our communities. Okay, I'm wrapping up. I thought I would just give you just one or two last thoughts of what's next for developers. Agents are coming. So that Q code transformation agent is just the beginning. OpenAI released a benchmark in partnership with the university called SWE-bench Verified. So Software Engineer Benchmark Verified, with a set of 500 public Python repo GitHub issues and challenged agents to tackle them. So what's exciting is two things. One, Amazon Q Developer Agent is the best agent in the world, resolving 38.8% of issues fully autonomously. Kind of amazing. But the other thing I want to point out is how far the technology has advanced. So in October 2023, so less than a year ago, 10 months ago, state of the art was 4.4%. And then with GPT-4 first release, state of the art was 20%, and now we've doubled again. So we've gotten 10x better in 10 months at agents doing software development tasks. So I don't think software development is going away, but I do think it's going to be changed in really interesting ways, and tools like Q will help us all get there together. Okay, This is my takeaway. This is my last slide. We are in a disruptive moment as developers, and it's a little bit unsettling. I want you to be fearless. I want all of you and your community to explore how software development is changing. Find the good in these tools and take advantage of it. Find the places where they don't work and help us make them better so that we can all move forward together. These new tools like Q are going to be incredibly powerful to you as developers. And I hope on this journey, as we accelerate and move, we'll bring many more builders into the community and into the Japanese AWS developer community. We have an amazing opportunity to bring in millions of more and new builders. Thank you very much for letting me speak. Thank you for being part of the AWS community, and thank you for welcoming me into your community.